everybody. Welcome to an ActionFeatures.net Comics Weekend Review. This is for releases from... What was last Wednesday? That was the 23rd?
I would think.
It was the 23rd. From January 23rd, 2013. Let's get right into it. This is what we picked up. This isn't all the books that came out. We don't buy every single book. What are you, crazy? Marvel Now, A+X, issue 4. Please don't kick, okay. Issue 4. This one was running a little bit behind. Blaze was asking about it recently. This is one we both read.
It wasn't as good as I expected.
Yeah, it wasn't. It's not as good as the rest of the series, I think, has kind of been.
This is actually the second Captain America one they've done, though.
Yes, Captain America has been in 2 of them so far.
The Cable one and this one.
Well, we should explain what the book's about. A+X is kind of a spin-out from Avengers vs. X-Men, except it's an Avenger plus an X-Man. So it's just like little self-contained stories that you don't need a lot of backstory to, where it's an X-Man crossing over with an Avenger, or like a mutant character crossing with an Avengers type character. So far, I mean, it's got revolving creative teams, different writers, different artists. Right. I believe it's been different writers and different artists. There's really, like, they kind of just take a story and it's just there. You don't have to worry about a lot of continuity and things like that in the book. And so far, it's been pretty fun stories, hit or miss.
This is something you just jump right into.
You jump right into it. There's even a page at the beginning of the book where it explains you just kind of jump right into it.
There's a question and answer. I read those.
Oh, do you? I didn't know there was. Oh, yeah, that's what I'm talking about, the first page. In this issue, it's Spider-Man and Beastman. I'm thinking about He-Man. Spider-Man and Beast teaming up, and Captain America and a character named Quentin Quire. Let's talk about the Spider-Man Beast first.
Okay.
It's kind of like they just start it right off. They're in this like other sort of dimension or something like that, and there's all these blue Beast characters that are kind of in control.
Dan, Katie. Yeah,
and the Spider-Man gets into trouble, and they really don't know where the whole thing's come from.
And isn't that Beast's great-great-granddaughter?
I don't know. We probably shouldn't say too much about it because we don't want to spoil the story for those who've read it. So that was okay. It was an okay read. It wasn't great.
Wait, I want to say something. Well, when we start to the Captain America, I'll say it. Yeah,
so that was kind of an okay story. The art was pretty decent. I can't remember who did the art on the 2 stories, and I'm not going to open up the book to look. The second story features Captain America and this character, Quentin Quire, I think his name is.
From the X-School?
From Wolverine and the X-Men, I think is what he's from. And he's...
The cartoon?
No, it's a comic book, Wolverine and the X-Men. So he's one of the students there, and Wolverine's the headmaster or something at the school now.
The one thing I wanted to say about this, so I can see why they did 2 caps, because one's World War II, and now this is after.
Yeah, there was the first. I think it was the first issue had Cable Cap in the during World War II, but this one has him teaming up for a modern day, and I guess Wolverine talked him into taking him with him or something like that for some mission. I didn't like the Quire character. I didn't want to know more about him.
Yeah, I'm not interested in reading Wolverine.
Yeah, I wasn't really interested in that story because I wasn't interested in that character.
I'm not getting into Wolverine and the X-Men.
Yeah.
It just didn't really make me.
I don't know. I just didn't really dig him, and I thought he kind of acted like a punk most of the time. There were a couple of moments.
Book report.
Yeah.
It does make you want to read the rest of the story.
Yeah, exactly. This didn't entice me to read more about this character or Wolverine and the X-Men. So that was kind of a disappointment, that issue, after having a couple of pretty decent issues. This is the other book you read this week, which is the regular Avengers book, issue 3, written by Jonathan Hickman, with art by Jerome Opeña, I think is how you say it.
A little different.
I think it's his art, I guess.
It's a little different. The backline is they're getting sent to another dimension and they're making a bigger version.
No, they went to another it's a different planet.
I thought you said it was a dimension.
No, Captain America's another dimension.
Oh, yeah,
You were trying to say that they're both different planets, but Captain America's a different dimension.
Right.
Well, this whole storyline starts off, basically what they're trying to do with this book is sort of expand the Avengers ranks and have like specialized teams, kind of like Justice League Unlimited, the cartoon, when they took in all the heroes, made them all Justice League, and they'd send out certain members for certain crises. So Captain America and Iron Man came up with this idea where they needed to get bigger and have more recruits and things like that. And then this threat comes towards our solar system. The regular Avengers team goes to confront it and gets captured and beaten almost immediately. Cap gets kind of sent back to kind of, I guess, send a message or something like that, if I remember right. And in this issue, Cap has already put together this team that he and Iron Man... What's wrong with your mouth there, bud?
Nothing.
He and Iron Man have put together this team that they've recruited everybody, and now they're together and they're going up to rescue the other Avengers. It feels very much like... You won't know what I'm talking about. but back when the new X-Men team was revealed in Giant Size X-Men, it was like this big threat, and it captured the original X-Men, and so Professor X had to put together this new, or Cyclops had to put together this new team of X-Men to go and help the original X-Men, and they basically wipe out the problem.
I think you told me about it.
Maybe.
I think you have.
But what was really disappointing for me about this issue is how quickly they deal with the problem.
Right.
Whereas the original Avengers team, or the regular Avengers team, just gets kind of spanked by these guys. These new guys show up, and it's like, oh, this is no big deal, we'll take them out.
Right.
No big deal. It's like, why aren't those guys the main Avengers in the first place then?
Yeah.
If the regular Avengers get taken out so easy.
Right.
I don't like that. I don't like chumping out other characters to give another character a pop. And a lot of those characters on this Avengers team, I don't even know. Like,
Some of them are actual Avengers from comics, like Spider-Woman.
Yeah, there's Spider-Woman, then there's Cannonball and, like, Richter from, like, X-Force, and then there's a new character, Captain Universe, I think it is. It seems like it's the old Captain Marvel. And then there's Captain Marvel, and there's a couple other ones that I don't recognize.
They have the name Sam in this. Were they talking about Nova, or who were they talking about?
That was Cannonball, Sam.
Oh.
And my thing is if you want to do, like, a bunch of new members on an Avengers team, don't call that the regular Avengers book.
Right.
That should be that should be a different Avengers book, I think. That should be New Avengers, is what that should be called.
Right.
If it's going to be those kind of new members and things like that. I want the regular Avengers book to be like the movie Avengers team, in my opinion.
Right.
Deadpool issue 4 by Posen and Dugan, I think, are the writers, and Tony Moore does the art. I've really enjoyed this series so far. It's not really something you can read. It's a little bit too much for a kid. There's Deadpool is basically on the trail of all the ghosts of presidents, basically, that have come back. All these dead presidents have come back, and S.H.I.E.L.D.'s kind of enlisted him to go after them all and take them all out.
Okay.
It's pretty funny.
It is. Just from hearing it, I wouldn't want to read it, but
it's a funny book. I gotta admit, there's some great spots. There's actually a couple lines in this issue where I actually laughed out loud. Deadpool's that kind of character, sort of tongue-in-cheek, always joking, but it does kind of mean things and things that
he has to be paid too.
Most heroes don't do.
You want him to do a job, he better be paid.
Yeah, this book was great. I really enjoyed it, and I'm really enjoying where this is going. He fought Lincoln. He fought a bunch of them. There's a whole sequence where he fights the D-list presidents, like ones you don't really remember that well, that really didn't do that much, I guess, for history. Yeah, so there's a lot of that. Funny book. I really enjoyed the Deadpool book.
Was Ronald Reagan in this yet?
Ronald Reagan appears at the very end of the book. I'm not going to say what he's doing. Okay, Deadpool Killustrated #1. Now this is a storyline of Deadpool basically butchering the classic stories, like Moby Dick and Tom Sawyer and things like that. I guess, as I'm reading the book, I guess it spun out of a series called Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe, where Deadpool has basically figured out that he's the only one who knows that they're all fictional characters in the storyline that somebody's created, and so he's wiping them all out, and then he's figured out that he needs to go and find the creator. So all these villains come up with an idea that, hey, they're inspired by literature, this person that created us or whatever, so maybe you should go through that to try and find them. So now he's going through all these books of literature to eliminate them and find this creator, or something like that.
It's
to that
weird.
effect. It's weird, but it's fun. I mean, it had its even Moby Dick. I don't think this is as fun as that book was, but I'm going to keep picking it up. I mean, this cover alone, it's like, wow, Deadpool's riding Moby Dick. That's pretty cool. So there's that. FF issue 3. Now, I don't think we've given backstory on FF yet. Maybe a little bit when we talked about Fantastic Four. But the regular Fantastic Four has left because Reed's figured out they're sick. They came up with a new team to take over, even though they thought they were only going to be gone for like 2 minutes. Yeah, it's Ant-Man, She-Hulk, Medusa from the Inhumans, and then Darla Deering, I think her name is, who is basically just Johnny's girlfriend that's like a rock star, and he was kind of not being responsible and didn't find his replacement, so he just said, oh, can you replace me while I'm gone? It's only going to be for like 2 minutes. And so then she became a member of the FF.
It's like 2 minutes. Why would they need another team?
Because something always happens, and something did happen. They didn't come back in 2 minutes. So they had to leave somebody there to take over and be the FF and watch out for the Future Foundation kids and all that stuff.
Medusa always makes me laugh.
I know. So in the last issue, a Johnny, like an older Johnny, had showed up and said, "Hey, the FF's going to be dead unless you do what I say." And so this issue kind of has them reacting to him, then pulling Darla back into the group. Something's going on with the Moloids, which are these little tiny characters.
Mole-Man?
Like Mole Man's little creature kids.
Because I was writing Super Squad, there's this thing called Whack-A-Mole-Moid.
Yeah.
And Mole Man raised a sign that said, "Not funny."
Yeah, well, they're in this book, and they're funny. I really love the art. The art by Mike Allred is awesome. If you like Madman or character that run and his kind of art, it's the same here. His art is amazing. I love his art. It's so quirky and cool. The writing by Matt Fraction is really good. This is probably my favorite book of the week. I don't want to say too much about what happens in this book because it's just a really good read. And you're only 3 issues in, so it might be a good idea to catch up on this one. I think this is going to be a good sleeper hit. And it's cool what they decide to do at the end.
Is that appropriate for kids? Would I be allowed
I think so. I think it's fine. I'll go back and check the issues. Gambit number 8. Now, this is not a Marvel Now book. This is a book that's been running for a while, but I really like Gambit, so I was picking it up. But I wasn't actually reading it. But now I'm all caught up. And Gambit basically wants to take some time off from being an X-Man and get back to being kind of a thief, like pull a job and get it out of the system. So he robbed this guy that collects all these superhero artifacts, and this whole storyline happened with him and that, and then having to go do a job for that guy. That all is wrapped up in the issue before this one. And now in this one, this lady from at a benefit he was at calls for his help because they're trapped in the Forever City that they shouldn't have gone to, and he goes to help them. It's kind of like I don't know, after all the ones I've read so far and them connecting to each other, this one feels like a throwaway issue, like you don't even need to read it. Not that it's bad, it just feels like a throwaway issue, like, okay, it's over, now we'll get back to the storyline. I don't know. What you got in your fingers there?
Painting.
Judge Dredd issue 3, the new series by IDW. They're basically just making Dredd stories for America now, an Americanized book of Dredd, which is a British character for my fellow Americans, but you British guys probably know who he is already. Pretty decent couple reads in here. One leads into the other one, where these books so far have contained, I think, 2 stories each, and they're kind of just set all by themselves, little just stories about Dredd, with one kind of continuing storyline about these robots that have kind of gone crazy. And I don't believe anything in this issue ties into that, but it's a good read. This is a good, solid read, and both storylines kind of tie into each other in one book. Art's really good. It's just kind of a good, quick read.
My IDW book I've read is Ninja Turtles. You gave me a Star Trek issue, but I've never really gotten down to read it.
There's a Star Trek book in this stack this time.
There is?
Yeah. I'll tell you about it. Yeah, I'll tell you about it. Masks, issue 3 by Dynamite. This has probably been my most disappointing book of the last, 6 months or so. I was really looking forward to Masks with these covers by Alex Ross because I was crossing over Shadow, which is one of my favorite characters, with the Green Hornet and with Zorro and the Spider, and I just really looked forward to it. Alex Ross was doing the art, doing the Zorro, yeah. But he only did the art on the first issue as the full book, and then Dennis Calero, I think, is the artist on this, and he's just doing the covers after that. But still, even then, I was like, okay, well, maybe it'll be a good read. It's really not a great read either. There's a lot more characters that they're throwing in other than just those, and when you're doing a crossover like that with these characters, piling more characters on top of it just makes you lose sight of the characters that you really wanted to see in the crossover. I think that just leaving it at Shadow, Green Hornet and Kato, the Spider, and Zorro would have been enough. But instead they're bringing all these other characters into it too.
No, not Shadow, the Shadow.
The Shadow's awesome.
Yeah, you didn't say him, did you?
I did. I think I said him first.
You did?
Yeah, I think so. I think I did at least. That would have been just enough, but they're bringing in all these other characters, and the storyline just kind of feels like it's going nowhere. Like these last 2 issues, I think if I skipped them, I don't think it would have added anything to the story. And Zorro still hasn't appeared really in the book. There's a character you think is going to become Zorro, but he's still not in the book. And the art, when you go from Alex Ross in the first issue to the arts of the next issues, I feel bad for the guy because he's not a bad artist. When you're following up Alex Ross, you can't compete.
Oh yeah, he was the one that did the art in the Shadow comic.
He painted the cover. He paints the covers.
Right. Okay,
yeah, he painted that cover.
That's where I heard it from.
Punisher Nightmare number 4. I've talked about this series for the last 3 weeks, so you all know what's going on. Better art in this one. Punisher's got to kind of make a decision what he's going to do about this guy and his powers and stuff. That he obviously has regenerative powers. It's getting to be coming to the end game. Kind of more of the same. I'm not particularly crazy about this series, but I'm going to finish it off.
You know what I kind of like sometimes?
What's that?
I don't take it too far. Superheroes that don't have any powers, like Batman, for instance.
Yeah.
That's kind of neat how they're.
Oh, I like that. Yeah, I like that. I like superheroes that don't have powers. I think that's cool.
Newer Batman, no.
Yeah, I don't really read the new Batman stuff. And here's the Star Trek book I was talking about. For IDW, Star Trek Countdown to Darkness, Issue 1. This is the official comic prequel to Star Trek Into Darkness, which we are very much looking forward to. I have on a Star Trek t-shirt and a jacket today. I didn't realize I was doing that for a book with the Star Trek week.
Wait, it's the what to the...
This is the prequel. It's going to lead into the new Star Trek movie, Into Darkness. The art's by Messina, with the writing by Johnson. This is good. It's laying the groundwork, I guess, just like the Countdown series did before. Basically, you're seeing Kirk in command and the whole crew from the 2009 movie all together. Spock's having nightmares about what happened with his mom and things like that. And they go to visit. Yeah, well, yeah. They go to visit this planet. They're only supposed to They're not supposed to go down to it because the Prime Directive. But then they find something on the planet, and they go down. And of course, Kirk and Spock are down there together, and there's trouble. And a character shows up at the end that I don't want to spoil. That is from continuity that you might not expect to see. And it was kind of cool to see. Oh, okay. Well, maybe he's going to tie into where this whole Benedict Cumberbatch character comes from. I don't know. I'm looking forward to see where this goes.
Speaking of Star Trek, I was playing Katamari with Kian the other day,
yeah.
And the king said, "I'm filling up with wrath," and he yelled, "Khan!"
Oh, yeah. We love the Katamari games. Uncanny Avengers, Issue 3. This is like the flagship title of Marvel now. Basically, the premise of this book, which I don't think we've tackled one as of yet, is spinning out of Avengers vs. X-Men, Captain America decides that we haven't done enough about the whole mutant thing, so we're going to put together a new Avengers team that is comprised a lot of mutants with regular heroes and see where it goes. Kind of get it back in the limelight and show that we do know about the mutant cause and we support it and things like that. So the team is, I think, Captain America, Havoc's actually in command, so it's Havoc in command, and then Captain America, Thor, Scarlet Witch, Rogue, Wolverine. I think that was it. No, she's not on the team. So that's the team, or they're kind of still coming together as a team as the storyline's going on. The Red Skull, as you can see by the cover, is the villain, and I know this is 3 issues in, so I'm going to have to spoil a little something that we see in the first issue. Red Skull's got a hold of Professor X's body and his mind, which is the ultimate weapon, since he's got the most powerful telepathic mind like ever, and he's now has his brain and controls his brain, so he's now the most powerful telepath ever.
Professor X won't be able to beat Thanos. I read on Thanos' bio that its mental powers are hard to break into his mind.
Oh, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's good to know. So, in this issue, Red Skull is going into control, and he's using this power and kind of turning the whole world towards him, and against mutants. That's his agenda, is to kind of wipe out mutants, which I'm still kind of confused by, but I'm sure maybe I missed something, or maybe I need to, like, reread stuff. But it was really good, and the art, Rick Remender writes it, John Cassaday does the art. The Cassaday art's fantastic, and it's kind of so cool seeing which members are kind of the heroes may get controlled by Red Skull, especially one at the end that gets controlled by the Red Skull. That could really lead to some cool stuff. Good book.
You said that you didn't think you were gonna like it, but you ended up liking it.
What's that?
No, Uncanny Avengers. I thought you said you might not like that. Oh.
No, I liked it. Oh. Yeah. Uncanny X-Force #1. This is the other X-Force title now, since we have Cable in the X-Force, which isn't really the X-Force, and Uncanny X-Force. I feel like this one really spins out of the previous Uncanny X-Force book, because I really didn't know a lot that's going on. It kind of fills you in a little bit, but this team is basically going to consist of Storm, Phantom X, which I don't know much about, Psylocke, and Puck from Alpha Flight. And in this issue, Puck from Alpha Flight is calling in Psylocke, and Storm, I guess Psylocke has taken a break, basically. Wolverine's saying you need to take a break from being at the school and things like that. You just need to go off and take your break. And so then Puck gives her a call, and her and Storm head out there to confront Spiral. The art is by Ron Garney, who I've always been a fan of, back from his Captain America days with Mark Waid. This art's really, really nice, and it's written by Sam Humphries, who I don't know.
Psylocke is.
Yeah, Psylocke's cool.
I learned about her from Superhero Squad Online.
She's a cool character. So this book could be really cool. I just don't know a lot about it just yet. So I'm going to keep giving it a chance. We've got a couple more to get through here. Winter Soldier issue 14. I've been reading this book since the beginning. I think our previous comics rewind reviews had some Winter Soldier stuff. I loved this book because I love the Winter Soldier character. This is the final issue by Ed Brubaker and Butch Guice, I believe.
So it's
the new creative team takes over. No, a new creative team's going to take over. And this concludes the hunt for the Black Widow. Basically, one of the other sleeper soldiers, like Winter Soldier, was awakened. Stop doing that, bud. And he's now gotten Black Widow under his control, and he's brainwashed her, and Winter Soldier's doing everything he can to get her. And in this issue, obviously, he's going to rescue her. Yeah. But the whole mental tampering that this character has done on her has left a permanent change in her, which I'm not going to reveal because I want you to read the book. It wraps up a little too neatly at the end. I wish it maybe have gone maybe one more issue, just to have a little bit more drama towards the end of the whole thing. But this was a fantastic read from 1 to 14. I highly recommend the trades. It's going to be a tough act to follow, Brubaker, on this book.
Okay. Can I say one thing?
Yeah, go ahead.
I mentioned Superhero Squad a couple times.
Yeah.
All you that think it's really silly, you're right. But Superhero Squad Online is a different thing. It's
what, the cartoon?
Yes.
The cartoon's not silly. It's just fun.
I know, but
yeah.
They're right. I like it, though. I like the little bit of funniness that they added to it.
Yeah, it hasn't been on in a while, has it?
No, it's over.
It's over?
They have it on Netflix, but it's over.
The last actual new issue of the week is Young Avengers #1 by Gillen, McKelvey, Norton. I don't know these guys. This is a brand new issue 1, new Marvel Now book, and it's basically younger superheroes. I guess it spun out of a previous Young Avengers book, but I didn't read one, so I have no idea who most of these characters are, other than young Loki, really. I mean, I know their names and things like that, but I don't know much about them. Like Hulkling and Wiccan, I don't know much about them. The only thing I knew about was young Loki. Loki's been de-aged to like a teenager, and I knew that from reading some of the Thor trades, but that's the only thing I really knew. This book wasn't what I expected. It really felt like I was coming in from, I have no idea where, and I don't know these characters. Especially it just starts right out with like this female character with a guy in a relationship.
You know what made a little more sense?
What's that?
Going from out the movie, which wasn't that good, that Young Avenger, the new Avenger movie.
Maybe, and just like having a not in continuity.
Right.
Yeah. Maybe, yeah. Because as it stands now, I don't know much about these guys, and I don't know. This really doesn't feel like a. I don't know how to describe it exactly. It's very almost like a 90210 or something like that, with really a focus on the relationships and things like that. Whereas a Young Avengers book, I would think that would be, I don't know, something that would be more accessible for like a young audience, and I don't really think this is like age appropriate for you or for younger kids, because it's more just like relationships,
it's
like
Kid Avengers.
Yeah, almost like 18, 19-year-old. I don't know, like The Hills or some MTV show like that. It kind of felt like. I don't know how much longer I'll pick up this book. I really like young Loki, the idea of that, but I don't know. Wasn't really my cup of tea. Okay, and then real quick, I did 2 trades this week. I read Captain America, The Man with No Face by Ed Brubaker, which follows the whole Death of Captain America 3-part trade series. It has him confronting an old foe that from both his days in World War II with Cap, and from his days as the Winter Soldier.
I guess.
You won't know him. You'll know who it is. And also bringing in a lot of flashbacks, the original Human Torch character, the original and Namor and things like that. This book is really solid. I mean, I just can't get enough of the Ed Brubaker writing on Winter Soldier type stuff.
Is it appropriate?
I think so for sure. Yeah, but you should really read the other stuff first, like the Death of Captain America.
Okay.
You should get through those first. That was great.
I didn't start on those. I don't know if I've never started on them.
It's really good. And then we have the first Venom trade. We did a review on the Flash Thompson Venom, so I went ahead and got the trade.
Is it any good?
It was good. I really liked it. It's by Rick Remender and Tony Moore, who are... Rick Remender has written a couple of the books we talked about here, at least one of them, and Tony Moore is doing the art of Deadpool. It kind of jumps right in. It doesn't... I don't know if there was something else that happened before this, or if this really is where it starts, because it starts off with Flash Thompson as Venom right off the bat, and it really doesn't fill you in a lot on how it got to be that point, how he got into the system and things like that.
I bet something started out in like a Spider-Man comic.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of thinking. Maybe there's like a prelude or something like that. If somebody else knows, that'd be great. Hit me with a comment. But this is good. I mean, it has him fighting Jack-O-Lantern, and him becoming kind of his arch nemesis almost, and then a whole thing with his girlfriend and Spider-Man showing up, and I don't know, it was really solid. I thought I really enjoyed it.
It wouldn't have been Doc Spider-Man. That's before.
No, it's way before. Yeah, this is good. I'm gonna pick up another one of these trades. I enjoy the Flash Thompson Venom character.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Was there a part in the comic where he actually started to lose?
Oh yeah, there's some parts where he loses control,
I want to read
where he's with it for too long, Because that's the whole thing with this, is that he can't be with it too long. And there's a whole point where he's kind of trapped with Kraven in the Savage Land. And he's been on it, it's been on him for way too long. And he's losing control. So that's really cool. So yeah, he only can keep it for 2 hours, I think it is, or 48 hours? I can't remember what it is.
Is that how the new Venom looks? Or
No, that's when he loses control. It looks like old school Venom. So that was it. Good week. I'd say FF was definitely my top pick of the week. You only read 2 books, but obviously A+X was not the top for you. Was it Avengers?
I don't know, really, because I don't...
It's tough. Neither of them are that great this time around.
I'm not really a huge fan of this new Avenger comic.
Yeah, it's really... I would go back and pick up... Maybe with the next issue, now that Avengers Assemble has wrapped up that last story arc, maybe beginning with the next issue, that's your Avengers book, I think. Because that's got the regular team.
Are you going to pick that up for me?
I will. I'll pick up the next one if you want to check it out.
Yeah, I'd like to... So it's starting over again?
No. Well, the storyline wrapped up with the whole Tony and Bruce having the rivalry thing.
Okay.
That wrapped up in the last issue. So the next issue, I think, is the Vision thing we talked about, where Vision coming back.
Right. Okay, yeah.
So maybe starting with that issue, and you know from what we talked about what happened in that one.
I would like to check it out.
All right, I'll pick up the next one for you.
Okay.
All right, so we'll sign off on this one, and we'll see you guys next week.
Bye.
Keep reading them comics.